Yes, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. We have some special guests today that we will get to in a sec, but before, let's do some housekeeping. And how was everyone's weekend? What's happening out there? Did anyone have any business this weekend, either challenges or successes they want to share? Peter and Alex, do you guys have anything exciting happen this weekend?
We
set up a few listing appointments, but one canceled. They're going with a friend, Uncle Joe, in real estate, but we got another one tomorrow, so that's good.
Nice. And are you doing all of those through Zoom, or are you cool?
Through Zoom. They seem to be going good. We haven't done very many of them, but the ones that we have done have gone well.
Great.
So we should be closing one tomorrow in Summerfield. I just took all the staging out yesterday, and another one coming up in a week or two.
Awesome.
Yay.
And then Terry chimed in, there's a lot of cash buyers out there losing out on homes with great offers to cash buyers. Yes. You know, a lot of investors seize these times as opportunities to come in. So that is true. You want to, want to add anything?
Sorry. I was going to say, Heather mentioned last week on Friday that there was a whole bunch of checks that came in, which means we've had a lot of closings at our market center, which is fantastic.
That's right. Yeah. You guys are keeping me busy. I love it. Thank you.
That's great. So congratulations. Yeah, lots of closings then. So congratulations to everyone who closed. Oh, cute little baby. All right. So then before we get to our guests, let's have Tanya just run through what is ahead for this week and what's on our calendar, because we have a lot of good things.
Okay, awesome. So a last minute addition, today at 2 o'clock, I'll be doing a Facebook ad campaign class, basically repeating what Jay did. And the reason I'm doing that is because we decided at our market center, if you post a listing ad this week to try to boost the listing through the weekend, we will give you a $25 credit on your invoice for this month. What you'll need to do is do the ad, do a screenshot of your ad once it is active and running, and provide that to Heather so that she has proof that you've done an ad, and you'll get a credit. So I'm excited to have some people come and join, and we can walk through step by step and get an ad posted for you. And then tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I'll be teaching another class. You guys have been asking to do SMART plans. So we're going to do a step-by-step walkthrough on how to do the SMART plans. And Chantel will be doing productivity through your 411 at 4 o'clock tomorrow. On Wednesday, we have our 10 o'clock call, and we have special guest Jake Geiger, who's a MAPS coach for Bold, and we'll be talking about Bold Pivot, which is fantastic. And then there's a CE class on Wednesday at noon with Brett Hatch, VP of Information Tech. WFG is hosting that one for us. And of course, Thursday, happy hour at 4 o'clock. We need to see more faces there. It's time to listen to music, chat, vent, whatever you want to do. It's a fun time, it's not a business time. And then on Friday, we'll just have another 10 o'clock meeting, and we'll kind of go through what's happening in the market, different things that are going on. If anyone has anything special, we'd really love to have you speak up and be a part of that. So you'll be hearing from us as well.
Great. Thanks, Tanya. And where can people find just the full calendar?
We post the full weekly calendar in an image on Facebook. You, of course, always get your columns and emails through the Market Center.
Great. All right, so today we have some very special guests. We've been talking a lot about what to do with business and how to keep the activities going and keep your motivation going for your deals and what to do. But today we're kind of going to go a different direction and talk about everyone's personal well-being. So we have some great guests. We have Dylan and Keith. They are the co-founders of Texture Life Coaching in there. So they're professional life coaches here to help us. Their work focuses on helping others find purpose, integrate their complexities, and achieve the realization of their ideal selves. And I'll post their website. It's texturecoaching.com if you want to find out more about them. But they're going to be focusing on the 5 major maladies that people are facing right now. And additionally, they're going to be offering some one-on-one coaching if you don't really necessarily want to open up right here. But hopefully, this will be some great information to help get everyone's mind and body and mental state and stress levels down, and just really focus on being the best self that you can be for both your families and for your business. So thank you, Keith and Dylan, for being here, and I'll let you guys take it away.
Thank you, Corinne, and thanks, Tanya, for inviting us. So we're here to talk about, basically, with the virus going on, we've been given this set of prescriptions to quell the threat of the virus that are simple and easy to follow. Wear a mask in public, wash your hands frequently, don't touch your face, keep 6 feet apart. These are things that are easy to implement. However, there's no corollary set of prescriptions for quelling the metaviruses of fear, despair, uncertainty, these things that we're all facing right now. So that's kind of what we want to speak to today, is helping you address these things with real pragmatic approaches. So we basically put our heads together and came up with the 5 main maladies that people are facing right now. I know these are all things that I have been and am facing, and so I think that they are pretty universalized, which is stagnation, overconsumption, isolation, despair, and financial uncertainty. And our approach here is kind of taking the approach of fortifying yourself. So if you think of a fortification, you're building up your castle walls, and it's not to keep out invaders, but building them up so that you can actually invite others in. And what fortifies the body, fortifies the mind. We're each our own ecosystem of the bio, psycho, social, physical components that make us up. So all of the parts of us influence and integrate with all of the other parts of us. And we're also parts of a larger bio, psycho, social, physical ecosystem that is culture. So by fortifying ourselves, we're actually helping to fortify our families and our communities. So that's kind of the approach that we're taking with this. And Dylan, I'll let you start if we want to start off with talking about stagnation.
Yeah, so thanks for the intro there, Keith. When we talk about stagnation, obviously the physical component comes to mind of sitting in our homes, stuck in front of our computers, our telephones, in essentially a 24-hour news cycle, and our physical body is becoming stagnant, and our thought patterns, the rumination can create the same sort of cycles of stagnation, anxiety, and when we think about stagnation, we like to focus on the antidote, which is movement. And that can come in many different forms depending on where you are and what your lifestyle is. If you have children, for example, young children, you're probably moving around quite a bit, picking them up and chasing them around and whatnot. But for a lot of other people, we're hearing that the movement is not getting in throughout the day. So simple things like setting a timer to head outside and take a walk around the block, or do some push-ups, or move around the house a little bit. Just even if you're getting ready to hop on a phone call with a client or a colleague, you can stand up and walk around the house. If you have access to a treadmill, you can do that way. But just getting the body moving allows for your thinking to kind of broaden and get stuck out of the tunnel vision of the cycles that we're in right now, and your peripherals can open up and you can see the 180 in front of you, and that's where creativity and new ideas are able to manifest. If we're stuck and constricted and our bodies are stagnant, our mind follows what our body does, and the creativity just has a hard time opening up and flowing through and finding its way to your whatever opportunity or way that you have to express whatever creative thoughts that come about. They're much more likely to manifest and find themselves expressed if we continue movement. So simple things like I said, I think 5 minutes or 10 minutes per hour is kind of ideal. If you find yourself needing to work and power through 2 or 3 hours of work, try and counter that with 15, 20 minutes of movement. And it doesn't need to be strenuous. It just needs to be some kind of movement, so the brain can reset, the body can feel expansiveness as opposed to constriction. And so that's kind of the first of the 5 approaches to getting the energy moving.
Yeah, and there's boatloads of evidence that show that exercise reduces physiological and psychological stress and actually boost your immunity. So all of the things we're talking about here today, it's, again, looking at the full picture and the ways the parts of you influence one another. And so we want to have our immunity strong during this time, obviously, and that's kind of going to be an effect of a lot of the things we're talking about as well. So it's trying to look at all of the integrated parts and how they interplay with one another. And you can find infinite free yoga classes, workout programs online as well. Okay, so the second malady that we're talking about is consumption or overconsumption. And this is something that's really easy to do when you're kind of stuck at home all day. It's easy to end up eating way more than you normally would if you're not out in the world. It's easy to kind of fall into vices, drinking or smoking or whatever it may be. And also like Dylan mentioned previously, the 24-hour news cycle that's constantly droning on, the infinite availability of Netflix, Amazon Prime, these streaming services, that it's easy to just end up spending several hours a day just watching TV. And so, before going on, I just want to say, I think important with all of this is not to bring shame onto yourself if you are finding yourself kind of getting stuck in these traps, because it's something that we all fall prey to. And it's something that, shame is really inherently poisonous, and it's better to use that energy to forgive yourself, say, okay, maybe I spent too much time watching YouTube today. Tomorrow I'm gonna get up and go for a 30-minute walk outside. So looking at consuming, the remedy is just the direct opposite, which is creation. And so this is something that Dylan and I talk about a lot. We feel really strongly about creating something meaningful. So whether you're an artist, drawing, painting, writing, if you like crafts, if you have skill with building, or if you just want to try to explore and learn that. Repairing something that's broken in your house, just taking pictures on your phone of beauty that you find in nature, filming something, or even just getting out in a garden, getting your hands in the dirt, planting some seeds, projects you've been putting off for some time. Now's the time. We have the time now. We're contained. We're in the house, and we have the time to be putting our energy toward these creative pursuits. And even if you don't typically think of yourself as, oh, I'm not a creative person, try putting that energy into something creative. And it can be any of the things I mentioned or beyond. It doesn't have to be an artistic pursuit per se.
Yeah, and the consumption can find its way. It's simple things: television, overusing the cell phone, getting stuck in the 24-hour news cycle. Like who was it? Dwight mentioned here. The kitchen is always open, and a lot of people, myself included, that need for unhealthy food is heightened when there's any sort of emotional stuff going on. So the key here is just being mindful of these patterns, and like Keith said, not to get caught in patterns of shame if you're not following what you think you should or shouldn't be doing. But rather to be mindful of it, be aware of it, bring attention to it. And if you can implement small things throughout the day where, you're done with work for the day and you're saying, I'm going to go tune into my favorite show or whatever. And little things like a 15-minute walk before you watch the show, little micro adjustments like that. This is not about a total overhaul, create the best version overnight. It's not realistic. What we want to do is make micro adjustments that can help end that kind of perpetual cycle of consuming and then stagnating, and then the rumination and frustration that comes with that is daunting, and it's easy to miss the connection. It's not always obvious what's causing us to feel certain ways. So bringing mindfulness to the little ways that we interact and integrate throughout the day is kind of step one.
Yeah, and honestly, try not watching or reading the news. Try it for a day, try it for a week, see how you feel, see the difference in how you feel. It can be pretty, in the best times, the news media tends toward stoking fear and uncertainty and these sorts of things. So just try it, see how it feels, just shutting that out of your life for a little bit and really connecting with the immediate world in front of you.
Awesome.
So yeah, the next malady is isolation, which I think we're all feeling pretty strongly. And I think that, some of us are home totally alone. Some of us are home with our family all the time. That's a different kind of isolation from, the people that you connect with outside of your family and maybe to get away from your family. But the isolation is really damaging. And, a lot of people have gone a long time without physical touch, which is such a core component of human well-being. And the remedy for that is to really strengthen your communal and familial bonds. And so obviously we can't be getting together, going out for a drink, or going bowling, or whatever it may be that you typically do. But a lot of people, myself included, are finding that we're connecting with people in our lives more who maybe we, in our heart of hearts, the whole time we've wanted to be talking to more, reaching out to more, whether it's family members or friends, that we don't get as much time, or we don't force ourselves to find the time to really connect with. So taking that opportunity, again, looking at what we have here as an opportunity, which obviously a lot of attention is given to the negative aspects of what's going on, and that's appropriate. But also we need to be giving our attention to the opportunistic aspects of what's going on, which it seems like we have more time in the day now. We're not driving, we're not commuting, we're not going to the grocery store as often. It seems like we have more time in the day. So we can be allocating that time to calling your mom, calling your kid, calling, a friend you haven't spoken to in a while, and really connecting with them. I know that a lot of our conversations these days tend to be focused on, the crises at hand, but try, when you're talking to these people you love or care about, try to connect with them on a deeper level and not just default to talking about how scary everything is, or how, in crisis everything is. Really strengthening those bonds. And if you are home with your family, I know that can be really difficult. Most people aren't used to spending 24 hours a day with their family. And if you are home with your family, then I think just inviting yourself back to, or creating an attitudinal shift where you're appreciative that your family is there with you, that they're safe, that they're healthy, and trying to create more generosity in yourself, both for, the ways that your family may be getting on your nerves, and for, feeling okay that these people are getting on your nerves. It's hard to live constantly in close contact with people all the time, regardless of how much you love them. But trying to open that generosity in yourself. And again, the things that we're talking about here, it's not just I'm doing this for myself. If you are centering yourself more, you're exercising more, you're spending less time consuming media, that's going to reverberate out through your family. And that's going to create a change in them as well that will reverberate back to you. And then suddenly everyone's just gelling better. The whole situation is just more helpful.
Yeah, I think you were thorough on that one. There's I guess maybe one more component I wouldn't mind touching on is, and this doesn't have to be for right now, but for some people, myself included, there was some renegotiating with myself in terms of my relationship with myself, and the internal chatter and conversations that I have with myself. It's been an opportunity. My default is to want to distract myself, grab my phone, turn on Netflix, go to the kitchen and make some food, go outside and walk the dogs, and all those things are okay. But there's a tendency that I have to want to turn away from and avoid the conversation and the opportunity to know and connect with myself on a deeper level. And it is, and sounds kind of corny sometimes, with things like affirmations and reminding myself that I'm okay. Little things like I'm proud of you, talking to myself. It really is and has been an effective tool, and kind of quieting down that self chatter that is like, well, why aren't you, further along than this? Why aren't you like more prepared for what's happening? Why is there not more money in the bank account? Why is it, it's like, no, it's just like a relationship with a partner, child, friend, anything. The relationship with self demands a bit of attention and maintenance once in a while, and that has been brought to my attention during this as well. And it's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's been a worthwhile endeavor to kind of lean into.
And on that note, I think that one really applies to a lot of working parents right now who are trying to balance homeschooling and working and taking care of everything else.
Yeah.
But just to remember to take care of yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely. And realize that there's going to be times where you come up short. You're not supposed to be the teacher, the parent, the best friend, the aunt, the uncle. All these roles that the community plays in your kid's life is all of a sudden focused solely on the parents. And that's a huge shift and a huge responsibility, and understanding that that's not going to be perfect. Yeah. So thanks for throwing that in.
Great. So, yeah, the fourth malady that we identified, which is a heavy one, is the despair. And that's, we are in a time where despair and fear have, in a lot of ways, overtaken the cultural consciousness. And that's scary in itself. So there's even a redoubling effect of that. And again, with how much scary or fear-invoking information we're seeing every day, it's a natural response. So the remedy for that is to actually be a vector for optimism, positivity, spreading cheer, and pushing that narrative out into the world. And it's not to be naive or Pollyannish or anything like that, but it's actually recognizing the force of that ideas have and how ideas spread throughout how interconnected we are. And if you can be, again, in these conversations where you're having with your loved ones, rather than focusing on the fearful aspects of what you're going through, really try to imbue those conversations with optimism. Try to bring cheer into the picture, because we need it right now. We really do. And it's a powerful tool. And again, the evidence shows that having an optimistic worldview is correlated with better health outcomes. So again, thinking about fortification, this is a way for you to fortify yourself, and you're helping to fortify your community by spreading those messages. Human beings are resilient, we're warriors, we're strong, we can get through this, and we can come together, and we can come out of this on the other end with something better than we even went into it with. And we have to remember that it's not hopeless. And it's scary right now, but it's not hopeless. There's a lot of hope. And so if we can trust ourselves and really listen to what our hearts are telling us, and not fall victim to the fear narrative, and in fact push against the fear narrative, put an optimistic narrative out there, I think we'll be surprised how that can spread just as easily.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, an important thing to remember, like when talking about the fortification, the strengthening of our immune system right now, when we are in despair, when we are in fear, we are immunocompromised. And there's tons of research that supports this. You know, when fear kicks in, and they always make the analogy back to the getting, you know, in ancient times, getting chased by the tiger or something, that fear kicks in and all the other systems shut down and you go into this fight or flight mode where you have to survive. And at that moment, if a bug enters while you're running from the tiger, you're going to get sick because your immune system is not prepared. It's working on something else. The hormones, everything is working on taking care of something else. So when you're in a chronic state of prolonged exposure to these images and these ideas that we need to be afraid, that we need to hoard our resources, that we need to isolate, constrict, the fear can actually start to break down your immune system. Physiologically, when you're in a state of fear, you're less adapted to remain in good health. So this despair one is the antidote, like he said, spreading optimism and cheer. When people start that conversation and they want to just, oh man, how are you holding up during all this? It's all this, all that, all this, all that, this negative cycle. There's simple ways to kind of field it and return back with something like, you actually sound good today, or you look great today. If you're on the Zoom, like, wow, your skin looks vibrant. Even if it's not something you're actually thinking or feeling, just taking the time to restructure and redirect the conversation into something that can be positive, uplifting. It's a really, really good time to compliment people. It's a really good time to tell people that you care about them. It's a really good time to tell people that you love them. These are simple things, maybe uncomfortable a little bit at first to adjust and get into the patterns of, but it really goes a long way. And who we're talking to, we don't know what level of fear, despair, isolation they're dealing with. So as with, you know, any time in life, I think it's amazing when you run into those people that are just so full of compliments. They're just, wow, you know, you look so good today. I can't believe, you know, I'm so happy to run into you, this and that. It's like, now is a good time to try and adopt a couple of those techniques that we've seen people who we admire that embodied us. Yeah.
Compliments, those are a great example. And if anyone else has any other good examples of how they've kind of spread cheer, optimism into the world. I know I was on a walk with my kids over the weekend and someone had written in sidewalk chalk just on the sidewalks, like, we're going to get through this. And then, you know, 10 feet ahead, you're doing great. And it's such a little silly thing, but I was like, yeah, got this. And it's funny how just those small things are like a compliment. Small, tiny things can really make a big impact in the world and on other people.
Absolutely. And one thing that's started to happen in my family and my circle too, is I see that, like, if you have a core group of people that you talk regularly with or whatever, if you come by something that's inspirational or a positive way of framing this whole situation, send a little text with a quote that you read that made you, or if you see that sidewalk shop, take a picture, share it with people, put it on your social media if that's what you're doing. It's like there's ways to fortify and spread cheer while also still honoring what's happening. You know, we don't need to pretend like it's not happening, but there's ways to bring some light into a shadowy time.
I'd like to say, this is Denise here, that sorry, my video is not working. I've got a technical error here, but not only just reaching out to our core group of those around us that we can send, you know, quotes and stuff like that. Dylan, I love that idea. I've taken some time too to just think about some of the folks that I haven't talked to in a while, you know, old friends, and maybe they've moved away, or people that I really dearly love. And I just don't have in my day-to-day, they're not on my radar screen. and I'm making a concerted effort to put them on my radar screen. And it's just random, maybe a person or two people a day, or but really trying to think about who might be out there isolated or feeling alone and just need to know that I love them, I care about them, and I'm thinking of them.
Absolutely. I love it.
That's great, Denise. Yeah, especially focusing on the people who you think may be having the toughest time. That's especially helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the last thing we identified, which, I think is in some ways the trickiest and stickiest one, that there's no real clear way out of it necessarily, which is the financial uncertainty. And this is, a particularly difficult one. I'm sure many of you are feeling that uncertainty. I know that many people I talk to are feeling that. And so what we came up with as the remedy for this is actually to take this time now, when so many people are just kind of succumbing to the fear narratives and, kind of shrinking backwards from the world, taking this time now to actually figure out how to be on the cutting edge when the world emerges from this. So really thinking about what can I be figuring out now in this time of stillness, that when we come out on the other side of this, I can hit the ground running, and suddenly I'm ahead of everybody who just kind of took the time of stillness to be only still.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think that if we really think hard about this, no matter what sector we're in, no matter what part of the economy we're operating in, there's a real opportunity here. There's a hard reset that's happening, and if you can get into the forward-thinking mindset, there's an old way of doing things that we may not return to, or we may not return to for some time. So what's next? The author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, talks about this in an interview recently. And, I really truly do firmly believe that, there's a future. For example, we're talking to you guys, and you guys work with real estate. And so if we stop trying to desire and force things back to the way they were, if we can't be in that space right now, it's not available. The way things were is not available in this moment. Maybe it will go back. Maybe it'll evolve into something completely different. But the reality is, right now, you can't operate your business the same way that you could a couple of months ago. So how does this look if the evolution of this continues? How does this look? How do you come out of this with this new cutting edge sort of idea or approach on real estate? And maybe those answers aren't known yet, but at least having the mindset of forward thinking, future thinking, rather than this obsession to have things go back to the way they were, and praying that they go back to the way they were so you can get this, this, and this. There might be an opportunity for each and every one of you that far exceeds what your opportunity was 2 months ago. The opportunity might be bigger and better than we ever could have imagined. We don't know what that looks like, but if we are looking into the future, if we're thinking forward, the little cracks and the little opportunities and the little insights and the little gleams of hope will present themselves. And when it comes time to open those gates, you will be in the future ready for the future. And I think this is the same with any profession, any career path that anybody's on. It's important to be thinking about what is the future, and how do we emerge from this more robust, more resilient, not in this recovered victim mindset of how do we find our way back. It's like, no, come back out of this more robust, strong, resilient, and prepared for whatever may come.
Yeah, so those are
Looks
the
like
recommendations for those things that we've identified. And if there's time, we can give some time to have people talk about maybe what's working for them or particular struggles that they're having, because it may resonate with other people. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Let's open it up to anyone who has questions for these guys or wants to share something that you maybe took away, or examples of real world examples of how you're combating some of these things yourself.
I'd like to comment real quick on just what Keith and Dylan have been saying about we will never go back to being the way that we were. Like, there will be some, even if they're idiosyncratic changes, very small, in very different ways, things will change. And maybe those things will be very big. Maybe it's a way that we communicate with our team every morning on Zoom, like I've been doing. At 9 a.m. every morning, we jump on Zoom. End of the day, 5 p.m. every day, we jump on Zoom. And it's been a really great, effective way of keeping in touch with each other. We've had more client calls through Zoom that have saved us time and running around. So maybe those are some permanent changes that might play into effect. And then also for us, Dwight's had put something in the chat group just now about first position realtor. And I think that there's different ways that we will be marketing to our clients and trying to find business in sort of a more aggressive way than we ever have before, through more honed in marketing efforts, to understanding our list, to stay in touch with our clients, just maybe in ways that we haven't been before, where we're not sitting back and being order takers, right? Waiting for the business to come to us or for people to find us, but we're order makers. We're out there looking for it. We're connecting with people. We're finding out how we can help them in ways that we haven't been before. And so maybe some of those habits will trickle over into the end game when we get back to, quote unquote, normal in a way that we haven't done before, and in bigger and better ways. Like, this is the chance right now to reform how we do things and look at it as a positive change and not be stuck in where we were, because I agree, Keith and Dylan, we're never going back to that. It will be changed in some way forever from what's happened here.
Hey, can I ask either of you or both of you to comment on the value of the sun and vitamin D and whatnot in terms of how we survive? We've been very fortunate here to have great weather compared to many parts of the United States. So, can you guys give your 2 cents on that?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's hugely important. And, there's a reason that a lot of people in Portland fall prey to the seasonal depression when we don't see the sun for 6 months. But yeah, you're right, Dwight, that we are really fortunate right now that we have gotten this amazing weather. And again, it's another thing to look at as an opportunity. This is here right now. And I don't have to be, stuck in my car or stuck in an office or whatever it may be. I can choose to just walk outside for a few minutes in the middle of my day, absorb some of that vitamin D, which is so important for our mood and general health and well-being. So I think that's a great thing to identify.
Yeah, this is the time of the year where the sun is returning, and we have had a particularly nice spring so far. But our vitamin D stores, we have enough vitamin D. If we spend time in the summer, in the sun during the summer, we can usually make it through the winter months. But right now is spring when the vitamin D. So our stores, even if people had a lot of time and a lot of vitamin D last summer, our stores are running out by now, and it's time to get back out into it. And so on the days that it is nice, morning sunshine or late afternoon is best, and just going, leave your phone inside. As you know, obviously, if you don't have privacy, you got to leave all your clothes on. But if you have the more skin that you can make available to that sun, especially the morning sun, leave the phone inside and just go absorb it for 10 to 20 minutes. And there's no question. I do it most days that it's sunny, and I have a better mood after just 20 minutes. I lie down on my deck and I let the sun hit me for 20 minutes, and I am happier afterwards. There's no question. So while the vitamin D does not convert in my body that quickly, there is a benefit of the sun that transcends just the vitamin D aspect. The vitamin D takes a while to accumulate and convert in your body. I think it's like at least a month or more. But the effects of the sun on mental well-being is instant. And so thank you, Dwight, for bringing that up, because that's super crucial. Outdoor time in general, if you have any access to hiking trails, a nice backyard where you can hang out and take your breaks there rather than in front of your phone, is hugely beneficial. So thanks for bringing that up, Dwight.
I wanted to just really quick, the vitamin D thing from my side, every time I go to my doctor and I get a testing done, they always say my vitamin D is low. So he recommends getting a bottle of vitamin D from Rite Aid or something like that, where you can take the individual supplements. That seems to work really well for me. The other thing is these type of calls are really good to be on just to create structure in your day, which can also create a positive attitude. Look, we don't have to work the whole time. You don't need to do that. Go find new things to do that you've never done before. I keep talking about that in our ALC meetings. There's a lot of opportunities today that we're not taking advantage of on a daily basis. Okay, so things are not going to be the same. Well, instead of looking at that from a standpoint of, oh no, that's horrible, look at it from the standpoint, change the mindset and turn it into hey, that's a wonderful thing. I'm going to change the way I operate. There are thousands of stories of people who have changed the way that they think every single day and start to go on a new path and find out that they're 10 times more successful than they've been in the past. So look at this as a real opportunity, not as a negative thing. This is something that could change your life for the better. Mm-hmm. So we need to start looking at that way as opposed to, oh no, things can't be the way that they were in the past. I mean, I've gotten a lot closer to my family. I have I put a little post in there about people that I connected with from when I was in 7th and 8th grade. I'm looking for my drummer for my band from high school, because I found a couple of online services where we could jam together. I mean, you just got to go. You got to go. There's time. Don't sit there. Think about all the opportunities and just write them on a piece of paper. What things do you want to do today? You don't have to do them today, but you put them down and then you can go back to them. So when you feel a little run down or a little tired, you can look at your list and you can say, oh, here's something I put on my list. I'm going to go do that even though I'm not feeling like I really want to right now. Try new things and you'll find that life is pretty good. We're pretty lucky here. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary. That's very motivational. And with that said, it's kind of a nice opportunity to segue into, for those of you who don't know what those things are or need some help figuring out what those things are, Keith and I are available to, no personal cost to you individually. We want to be of service right now in any way that we can. So anybody that's having a difficult time putting structure into their day or coming up with those things, as Gary said, making a list and starting to kind of check off things that you've wanted to do or currently want to do, or things that are revealing themselves to you. Or if you want to build a morning routine and put structure in your day, put in movement, find ways to put positive ideas or affirmations into your day, or just somebody to hold you accountable on simple goals that you have for yourself. We want to be available, and so each and every one of you, the offer is out to reach out personally, no obligations, and we're here to help in any way that we can. We want to be a service in this time, and so if anybody needs absolutely anything, the container that both of us hold is one of complete non-judgment, complete confidentiality. We've been through and seen a lot, and nothing scares us away, and nothing do we pass judgment on. So please, 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 if there's even a maybe, reach out and see if you want to, any way that we can be of service to you or your communities. We want to encourage you to take advantage of it with truly no strings, no pressure, no obligations, just that. And I don't know, Keith, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I just can underline that this isn't an empty offer. So if you're feeling like this would be helpful in your life, please do reach out. Like Dylan said, we're offering our coaching right now as a service to the community. So we're not gonna charge you during this time. We're just trying to be available. And the idea that when you're fortifying yourself, that reverberates outward. So if we can be those vectors of change and help each of you be those vectors of change, that will just continue spreading and growing and exponentially, and bring some healing to the world right now because it needs it. So I put our email addresses in the group chat here. Reach out, check out our website, send us a message. We're here.
Thank you, guys. That's an amazing offer to be doing this as a service right now during this time. And Denise brought up a great point. If there are agents or people from our office that aren't on this call who you think might benefit to either watch the re-recording or reach out to these guys directly. And you brought up something really good that I want to touch on that people can go with is we've been talking so much on these calls about what do you want to look like on the other side of this for your business, right? What is your business going to look like? What are you doing? What are your goals? But then what about that same question for personal, right? Like, do you want to be known for watching every series on Netflix on the other side of this? Or what does that look like? And I think you guys brought up the point that you can help people figure that out if they don't have that figured out. So.
Absolutely. And creative ways to, the second malady we talked about, overconsumption, and the antidote being creating something meaningful. That is loaded for a lot of people. It's that some people don't feel artistic or they don't have an artistic expression. We can help cultivate and get some new way to express yourself. It's just taking pictures of nature, whatever it is. There's a lot of different ideas on these 5 things, and we just kind of touch on all of them, but all of them spread out and are very dynamic and have layers to them. And any way we can help integrate any of these things, we're glad to help.
Thank you guys so much. And then earlier up in the chat, Tanya posted a picture of a graphic that goes through all of their maladies and the remedies. So print that out, hang it up, look at that if that would be motivating. And then again, grab their emails off the chat, and we can also probably send that out after. But thank you again so much, Keith and Dylan, for being here. Thank you, Tanya, for setting this up. And thank all of you guys for jumping on today to do something better for yourselves, help yourself. So put yourself first and go make it a great day.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate you guys very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.